Hello and welcome back to another episode. Today I'm so pleased to finally be sharing this book with you, A Book of Dinosaurs by Keith Brumpton. This book is so important to me. It was one of the most inspirational books I ever read as a child, and it's also not a unique but a near unique book. It is a very interesting way of writing a book. I say that because the author Keith Brumpton apparently co-authored this book with Roger Dinosaur. Here's Roger sitting by a tree, and Roger supposedly sent Keith a manuscript in the post, and Keith felt that he had to honour this amazing gift by seeing it through to publication. So this isn't just written by Keith Brumpton. This book apparently is also written by a dinosaur called Roger, and because of that, as a child, I was so inspired. Not only because of the fact that it was such a unique way of creating a book, this idea of co-authoring with a dinosaur, but also because of the character of Roger and the way that his life is expressed essentially through a scrapbook. I was actually inspired to make my own scrapbook of my life at the time growing up in North Wales. Now, sadly, that scrapbook hasn't survived several moves since high school, university, so on and so forth. But I've always kept a copy of this book with me, or rather, this copy. This is the book. This is the one which inspired me all those years ago. Now, I've done a little bit of an experiment, and I've actually set up a camera here to my right so that we can actually share a little bit of the contents of this book. A Book of Dinosaurs is wonderful because, as I say, it was apparently written by a dinosaur and sent in a package to Keith. And Keith explains this in detail and then really hands over to Roger himself to talk about his life. Now, one of the things I love about Roger's style is the fact that he's unashamed of his mistakes. He doesn't. This is a time before computers, by definition, I suspect, and so. When he gets spelling wrong, for example, he just crosses it out. Authors authors thank you, he says there, and introduces you to his book. Now, I loved this as a child because this actually really highlighted the fact that anyone can write a book. I mean, okay, sure, getting it published is the next step. Getting someone to be convinced of the merits of your book is the next step. But the fact of the matter is, anyone can put together some information and put it onto pages and share it with their friends. So we have a contents page. This is actually something which I used to do all the time in school projects. I put in contents and sometimes a little sort of reference at the back for words that I'd used and this kind of thing. And this was actually directly because of the Book of Dinosaurs. Roger is a really funny character as well. He's got freckles, he listens to his Walkman, he's got a black and white scarf because in the northeast of England, which is actually where Keith is from, lots of kids support Newcastle United and their football kit is black and white. So there's lots of sort of northeastisms as well, which really I've really fully come to appreciate since I now live in the northeast of England. But here we are, Roger at home, and here he is putting together his manuscript, drawing one of his friends, and introducing us to his book. I loved these things, little details like Dinochrome slide, which, funnily enough, I mean, these days slides aren't really a thing anymore, but they were at the time, and having this just sort of made it all a little bit more, dare I say, real. It really made me feel as though Roger had put together this book basically as a scrapbook from the stuff that he had lying around. We were introduced to his sister, to his mum and dad, and also to his pet, pterodon, Kenny. Now, I'm not going to show you every page of the book because I don't want to spoil it. But also, obviously, there must be a certain copyright element here if I share the whole book. But I do love this book, and here we have Roger introducing us to his neighbourhood. I love it. I love the details such as Diplodocus is living in their own apartment block here. Unfortunately, each building is only big enough for one Diplodocus. Getting up here is the worst part of my paper round, he says. We have football ground. Roger's mad about football. Dermot and his friends playing football. There's more about that on page 22 and 23. All these sort of intra references within the book. Again, this is something which I was really inspired by. So if you come across something earlier in the scrapbook, tell them where you can find something else about it. In fact, let's go to page 22 or 23. Where has he gone? Nope, not there. There we go. Dermot Stegosaurus. Love it. Now, one of the T-Rex Tyrannosaurus gang thinks Dermot might make a tasty snack. He hasn't noticed the spikes on his tail yet. And I love the fact that Dermot is a little bit, he's a bit, he's not the cleverest thing in the world, or cleverest animal in the world. It says here, although he has a large body, Dermot's brain is only the size of an acorn. This means he's fairly easy to beat at Scrabble. And then this little motto here: save energy, stay in bed all day. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with that. Mostly, Dermot uses his spikes on his tail to protect himself against attackers like the Tyrannosaurus gang, but sometimes they come in handy for carrying the family shopping. It's things like this that make this book utterly adorable and engrossing for me. We have Procompsognathus. Honestly, I could say all these dinosaur names off by heart when I was a kid, but I haven't actually said them out loud for a little while yet now. Apparently, Lucy thinks Procky is dead handsome. A little note there at the bottom. Kenny off his leash. Roger's taking him out for a walk there, or allowing him to go flying. A poem about Kenny. His body is bald without a single feather, so he doesn't like flying when it's rainy weather. His action isn't smooth. You can hear him flap and creak as he tries to catch a fish or two using his pointy beak. Roger D. So, another element of this as well, just before we move on, is the fact that everything is it's got this sort of crayon and ink kind of feel to it. I love the textures in the book. Again, it really felt as though he'd taken the time to draw this himself as a dinosaur, as a young boy growing up in dinosaur times. He'd really been careful and loved what he was doing. Roger's recipe page. I actually, as a child, I wanted to try some of these dinosaur recipes, but obviously when you actually read them, they're not really doable food. So I never actually did. But I love the idea of trying out dinosaur recipes. I really did. Romantic dinosaurs, how difficult it is to kiss if you have different shaped mouths. Tricky Triceratops getting lots of Valentine's cards because they blow onto his horns if the postman drops the post on a windy day. Being a dino scout, absolutely wonderful. And this is sort of the shape of the book. And also the answers to the dino quiz, but I hide that. Now, actually, just to hide the quiz, this is the end of Roger's book. I hope you enjoyed it. One day, I hope he'll get in touch with me again. Maybe he'll write another book. If he does, I promise to let you know, says Keith at the bottom there. Now, Keith, Keith, as I say, lives in the northeast of England, and so do I now. And I discovered this a little while ago, and I sort of built up the courage to send him an email to sort of explain how much I loved his book. For example, here we have this wonderful creature here learning to fly, a little L plate on its tail. A little inserted note: Parky is a great footballer. Sometimes he eats too much before a match. I told him about this. I told him about how much I love all of these different things that he's inserted into this book, and the character of Roger Dinosaur, and how important it was for me as a child. And Keith actually was kind enough to say that he would happily sign the book. And not only did he sign the book for me, but he also actually personalised it. He signed it, and so did Roger Dinosaur. So it says here, cheers Mark, and thanks for the kind words about my first book. And he must have drawn Roger Dinosaur on the book, because inside Keith has drawn Roger, and that sort of really never occurred to me. There isn't a credit for an illustrator on this book. It is simply Keith's handiwork, and this meant so much to me. Getting the book signed and personalised by Keith and Roger was just superb. I love it. And see the little butterfly here flying up to the detail of this little drawing means so much to me, and I'm so thankful that Keith was up for signing this for me. It means an awful lot. And I guess that's it. I mean, as I said, I don't want to spoil all the contents of the book, so I'm deliberately missing out some pages. But I absolutely love the sense of a young boy, a young dinosaur boy, sharing his life with you, or with us, in the form of a scrapbook. I absolutely adore the fact that, for example, here we have the Tyrannosaurus gang, a little bit more about on a dangerous page, so please, not so much as a cough or sneeze. We have a dinosaur here looking after a Tyrannosaurus's teeth, which would be quite dangerous, being a dinosaur dentist, a Tyrannosaurus dentist. We have a little warning, the entrance to the T-Rex gang's forest hideout. If you ever come to this spot, start running quick. And a little dinosaur rap, which I'm not going to give you a performance of, or a rendition of, because it's not the best rap in the world. But then again, that's also quite realistic. Young boys at this point in the 90s were obsessed with rap and hearing all sorts of bad renditions of rap, especially on TV. Now, hopefully, this has given you a little bit of a sense of why I love this book. The style, the cuteness, I suppose, the adorable nature of Roger and his life in his world, the way he shares it with us, and also the fact that anyone can publish a book. Anyone, at the very least, can have a shot at publishing a book by first of all putting one together themselves and then sending it off to a publisher. Really inspired me as a young boy, and continues to inspire me now. Even on the back, we even have a dinosaur pushing the barcode along there, just at the bottom. At long last, a dinosaur book written by a dinosaur, it says. Roger Dinosaur's book contains the highly personal observations of a 10-year-old dinosaur, packed with comments, drawings, maps, quizzes, and quips in Roger's own hand. This is the dinosaur book even dinosaurs will want to read. Absolutely wonderful. And if you ever get an opportunity, or indeed if you have children yourself, or if you have young people in your family, nephews or nieces, do share this book with them if you can get hold of a copy, because it's just so good, so much fun, and just so detailed. I could just talk about it all day. I could rave about it all day. But really, I just wanted just to say once again, thanks so much to Keith for signing the book, and for being such an inspiration, especially to me as a younger man and young boy. I really loved Roger's dinosaur book. Anyway, guys, hopefully you've loved this book a little bit as well. Hopefully this experiment with this camera has worked, and hopefully you've got a smile on your face as well. Anyway, as ever, until next time, do take care. Bye bye.